What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on Gradient by Dadswell. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to join the Chris Edwards Magic Secret Access group over on Facebook. Alright, so today we are looking at Gradient by Dadswell. So what is Gradient? Gradient is a marked deck of cards, I guess color cards, right? So they are a number of different colors that you would find at, say, a home decor store, paint store, and they look like something that you would be able to pick up at any time in the real world. With these, they are easily marked, and what I mean by that is it's very easy to read the markings since you know what to look for. The backs just look like this, right? So really they don't look any different. One doesn't look different from the other. And when you turn them over, they also have markings on the front that tells you what the last card or the next card is. So these actually use stack work, but they don't have to. So there are some routines that Adam includes with this that use the stack, which is great. There's also some that don't need the stack. They just rely on the markings. So you're going to get 20 different colors in here. Now the colors have names like Purple Rain, Ocean Teal, Church Stone. They have unique names. Aside from the 20 cards, you will also get this one here. You'll get 2 full palette cards. These are the same, but these do work with some of the routines as well. So what do you get? You're going to get the cards, obviously, and the tuck case, and then you will get the link for the tutorial. Now, what's the quality on these? So these are done on cardstock, so just watch if you are around water or liquids, right? Because these, they're standard cardstock. They are good quality, don't get me wrong. They use a nice thick cardstock, but they are paper cardboard, so just be a little careful with them. But again, they don't need to stay pristine, right? These are meant to look like you just picked them up from the store and thought, hey, I think I could do something with these, right? As far as the marking system goes, I think he did a really good job with these. They all look pretty much identical. People can look at these. I don't think they're gonna pick up on the markings, honestly. And then the fact that you can know what's next or before, I think is really neat as well, depending on how you handle the cards. So the tutorial. First, Adam's going to go over the history on these, go over some prototypes, how they came to be, what they are. And then he's going to talk about the markings and the stack work. Now, obviously, the stack work follows a certain stack. You can always get back to that stack by using this. This is your, I guess, crib in a sense, your stack crib, if that's something. But Adam also gives you a way to memorize the stack using mnemonics and just some ideas on making it easier to memorize the stack. It's really not that difficult if you watch the tutorial through and just kind of follow the suggestions. But on top of learning what these are and how they work, you're going to get a handful of routines. So the first routine you're going to learn is called Gemini Tones, which uses the Gemini twins principle. But what I like about this is that not only in the end will the cards match like they would in the Gemini twins card routine, but they match a prediction. So, it kind of turns a card trick into a mentalism trick using something, I think, more interesting for the most part than playing cards. So you can have this prediction set up in advance in your wallet or anywhere, really. And as long as you're using the stack, that can be done in advance, right? You don't need to use the stack. You can still perform the routine. So if you are not using the stack, you can actually have your participant shuffle the cards, right? And then all you need to know is a couple of things, which you don't have to peek at the cards because they're marked, but then you can make your prediction on the spot and you go through the routine. It's all completely fair. And in the end, the prediction matches, right? The outcome is exactly as it's supposed to be. So I really like that. I like how you have the option of either making a prediction beforehand that you can always keep on you, or just doing it on the fly. If somebody shuffles your cards and, oh no, now it's not in the stack, well, you can still perform the routine if you like it. Then you're going to learn a routine called emulsion, which is a version of Vernon's emotional reaction. So with that, you're tying in emotions with colors. You'll have them select a color and then try to correspond an emotion to that color. You can go ahead and try and guess the emotion, or just use some subtleties to try and move yourself in the right direction, saying that you can kind of feel that they're moving towards this emotion or whatever. You don't necessarily have to get that, because in the end you will still be able to get the color right because they're marked, right? You could also have them write down the emotion, right, and then peek it and have them hold the emotion and the card to their chest. That way you have a hit on both if you want, but again, you don't have to do that. The next routine, I really like this one because it's called the influence of color. Now, this is kind of a color match routine, but I find it very, very interesting because the spectator deals, cuts, and mixes the cards. It seems very fair and impossible. After the process is done, their actions have actually put the cards in perfect order to this, right? So this is essentially kind of your prediction. You don't need to say that you're making a prediction. You can just, in the end, kind of bring that out and say, that's however you want to go about it, but their actions will perfectly match the order and layout of this card. So I think that's really cool. Now, I kind of messed up. The last one wasn't a color match routine. I mixed it up. It's a matching routine. So the cards, the layout matches this card. The reason I said color match routine is because the next routine is called mental match. And that is a color match, like you'd find with, your Enverdi color match or your Pro Mystic color match, whatever one you use. But it's essentially that type of routine, but using the color cards instead of the markers and the drawing. So a lot more compact. You can do it up close. You don't have to be carrying a bunch of things to perform this one. And then finally, there is a bonus section, which is kind of a magic mentalism jam with Louis Lavelle. So Adam and Louis, they talk about the cards and throw out a bunch of different ideas, different things you can do with these cards as far as, revealing things and whatnot to really get the most out of this, and to also kind of move you in the direction of getting creative outside of the routines that are taught, and really kind of putting your creative spin on using these cards. So the difficulty level, they're very easy to read. If you want to memorize the stack, that will take a little bit of time, as it does with any type of memory work, right? But it is worth it if you take the time to do that. As far as using them and the routines taught, the difficulty level is fairly simple and easy. There's not a lot that you have to do to achieve these routines. And as far as reading the markings, well, it's super easy. Angles, there's nothing to worry about here. Setup and reset, again, if you're using the stack and your participant shuffles, there's still a lot you can do with the shuffled deck just using the markings. But, if you want to get back into that stack work, you'll have to do a quick setup. It doesn't take long, and you can always follow along with this if you haven't memorized it. So that's really the only setup that there is. Everything else is pretty much done on the go. Can it be inspected? I would say yes. I don't think that your participant is really going to catch anything with these. Now, wouldn't want them, and as with most things, I wouldn't want them to sit here and, look at each individual one and try to figure out and decipher what's different about these if they think that they're marked, right? But casually inspected, absolutely. And really, like, the way that these are designed, if you're using the stack work, there really isn't a way for them to assume that you were able to read them. Like, obviously the marking on the back of this applies to this, right? But what I love about this is if you memorize the stack, or if you have these in stack, you can be looking away the whole time. So you can hold this out. They can take their card, right? You're looking away, so you're not reading any markings. They can't assume that you're reading any markings. From there, you would just put the cards together and maybe gesture, and in looking out of the corner of my eye, I know what their card is because of this card. So I think he's done a really good job on hiding the method. Pocket space. So, these are comparable to like the Evoke deck if you have that. It uses 20 cards, so it's less than half the thickness of a deck of cards. They're also smaller than playing cards. These are probably like a bridge size card rather than a poker sized, I believe. I don't have a deck of cards on me, but these feel smaller than playing cards. So they don't take up a lot of pocket space, very thin, and I like that about them. Is it a worker, and who would use this? So this, I think, is great. I think there's some strong routines. What I like about this, if you throw this into your working set, maybe doing walk around mentalism or table hopping, this is different than your playing cards, right? So I think there's an element of this that just makes it a little bit more relatable to people, right? Because you can talk about the psychology of colors, and just the fact that these look like you picked them up at a paint store and thought, I might be able to do something with these. I think that they have that kind of innocence to them, but also I think people are interested in colors in general, especially if you get talking about, usually fast food restaurants use yellow and red, and banks use a lot of blue a lot of the time because that kind of corresponds with trust. And whether it's true or not, you can just say whatever you want. I just use those examples because they use them in the tutorial, but there is interesting things that are tied in with colors. So I think that this is a nice alternative to playing cards. And I think because of the marking system and the stack work, these are great for, close up, walk around, table hopping. I think they do good in your working set. So what's the price, and is this worth your money? So this is £30. I don't know what that converts to, probably like $40 US. Like I said, the cards are good quality. It brings a little bit of a unique element to what you're doing, right? And also the tutorial has a lot of good things. I think the tutorial is around 2 hours long, so there's a lot to get into, and I think you'll get a lot out of these. So, if it's something you're interested in, you feel like, you can take these, and you can add your own spin on them too, then it's definitely worth your money. At first, it might not seem like much, 20 color cards, but once you get into the routines and you see how much there is to offer, I think that kind of says it for itself. Pros and cons, positives, negatives. The only real negative that I have is just you want to be somewhat careful with these because they're cardstock. So they're not even like playing card stock. So, with playing card stock, there's a bit of a gloss, and, you could essentially wipe them clean to an extent, where these are card stock, right? Now, it's not really a negative. It's just, I really like plastic cards, but the chance of you saying, I picked these plastic cards up at a home decor shop or whatever, I don't think that come in plastic in the real world. So these have been designed to just look innocent, ordinary, and I think they did a good job with that. So, I can't really give it a negative, but just kind of be careful where you're using these. Don't put them on a wet surface. But other than that, that's really the only thing I can think of. So with that, I'll leave a link in the description. You can pick this up from Adam's website directly from him. I'm not sure if you can get it anywhere else. I would recommend always getting it direct from the creator if possible. So with that, I think that's kind of everything I have to say. Thanks, Adam, for sending this to me, and I really enjoy it. So with that, we'll see you at the next review.